Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of the e-commerce lab by e-commerce, the place where A related to Amazon FBA product level and e-commerce. My name is Vincenzo Toscano, founder and CEO of e-commerce. And today we bring another special guest. His name is Sean Stone, and he's the founder and CEO of Spillover Commerce, where they specialize on everything that has to do with, working with Meta and Shopify brands. And I think the reason why Sean is going to be such a valuable guest for today is because we know as Amazon sellers, a lot of times we struggle to really understand how we do things beyond Amazon. When it comes to, for example, Meta ads, when it comes to really understanding the spillover effect in terms of things that we go and do outside of Amazon. So I think that's what essentially today we're gonna be talking all about with Sean, and I'm sure you're gonna get a lot of insights when it comes to that. So Sean, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man. It's a pleasure. So for those that might not know you, just give us, a more in-depth intro about yourself, your company, and then we can go from there. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hi, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name's Sean, and I run an agency called Spillover Commerce. I've been advertising on Amazon full time since 2017, but in 2025, so last year in Q1, I had a straw that broke the camel's back moment where I looked at Amazon's annual report and I realized that their ad business was growing 3 times faster than their retail business. And I thought that was a bit of a problem because that really in common terms just means that Amazon was taking more and more money, and that really what that meant was less and less money for small business owners and companies across America. And so hence I had an Amazon first agency at that point, and we rebranded and kind of shifted our offering to be what we now call Spillover Commerce, which is really like an Amazon ads agency where we focus on helping Amazon first brands expand off of Amazon as well and then leverage that spillover effect to grow on Amazon at the same time. So that's who I am and what I do. And yeah, I'd love to get into it.
Awesome, man. I love it. Thank you for that
Yeah.
intro. That was great. So I guess, based on your expertise, I think we can definitely jump straight into what I just gave a quick intro about, which is, how we really, as Amazon sellers, can leverage everything that we do outside of Amazon, right? Like, I think a lot of times people get fixated on things that only have to do with Amazon, just such as PPC, such as listing optimization, branding, all of that. But the reality is that the marketplace is getting very, very complex and very also competitive. And a lot of people start to think outside the box, right? Especially your competitors. And if you don't do
Mhm.
this as well, you're going to be left behind. And know a lot of the strategies that a lot of people are doing is external traffic with meta ads, right? So I guess give us an introduction first, why this is something brands should be start looking into. More importantly, how you seeing this helping brands scale on Amazon. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think one thing that really jumped out at me when I someone asked me like why should a brand think about this is the Marketplace Pulse report that came out recently, which is them saying that they did a study and the top 1.6% of brands on Amazon control about 50% of Amazon's GMV.
Wow.
And when I went and took a look at a lot of the brands that they listed, they all kind of had like 3 common characteristics, which
Mm,
is they had a conversion rate advantage, they had a margin advantage, and then they had an external traffic advantage. And
mm,
so getting your conversion rate up, that often takes a lot of work. Getting your margin up, that is often a 6 to 9 month project. But the beautiful thing about digital advertising is you can get that's an advantage you can manufacture in under a month. You could be profitable from that. And that's something that the top 1.6% of sellers are doing, just based on the report that we looked at. And so, just in general, like, why would you do this? I think part of why you do this is it lowers your ad costs, but a second reason why you would do this is it gives you a lot more control and a lot more opportunity long term because you're no longer completely dependent on Amazon when it comes to your revenues and your profits. I mean, we've seen this over and over and over again where some brand comes into the market and just completely wipes out all the competition because they're the only ones leveraging an external traffic strategy. So that's what we've been seeing. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing the same, to be honest. The brands that are growing, the ones that having not even growing, the ones that having the biggest exit multiples and all of that, they have this external factor. They are just not an Amazon brand. They have Amazon, of course, is one of their biggest strengths, but they know how to be a brand beyond Amazon with their website, with the social media, social commerce. So it's definitely something that we're seeing, especially investors and overall consumers are looking more into when it comes to really coming down to make a decision which brand to purchase next. Now, I think a lot of the uncertainty when it comes to this, first of all, is a lot of people, first of all, don't understand how this works in the first place. So maybe we can briefly touch high level how we can drive traffic to Amazon and how this is even an option. And the second thing as well is the timeline associated with it, because some people, especially coming from an Amazon background, they think this is something that, like PPC, you put some campaigns and within 1 week you have some traction, right? It's not like that, especially with external traffic. It takes more time.
Yeah.
So tell me more about that,
Yeah, of course. So one of the main things of like I think I want to explain the mechanism and what you need for the mechanism to work, right? Because I want people to understand this, and because it's been really transformational for the companies that we've done it for. So the things that you need, right, is you need Amazon product market fit, which we typically define as like, are you top 5 in your category? Then you need meta market fit, which is proof that other people have already done this, where they are successfully able to advertise your products on Meta. And then the final is platform specific offers. And this is the one that really, really intelligent brands that have come and talked to us still get wrong. Basically, and I'll explain the mechanism of exactly how the spillover happens in a second. But if you think about it like this, if you are a shopper on the internet and you get an ad for a product you really want, and you see the product and you go to a product detail page or a landing page or something like that on a website, like on a Shopify website, and you look at this product and you're like, this looks amazing. I really want this. I want this right now. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to open up your Amazon account and see if you can get it up there, because you're going to get it much faster. You'll get it in 2-day shipping completely for free. If you don't like it, the returns process is already really easy. And I know this because I've watched my my wife shop like that for years now. But if you have a different product on the Shopify website than you do on the Amazon website, one, Amazon can't price compare you the same way, and shoppers can't price compare you the same way. And two, they have to decide if they want the thing you're offering on your website or if they want the thing that's being offered on Amazon. And so if you have two different offers, you can kind of capture different segments of the market. But if you sell the exact same thing on both platforms, you're going to spend all this money on meta ads, and it's just going to all lead to sales on Amazon at a less efficient ratio. And that's actually the way that we recommend people do this to get kind of like the maximum outcome, is you don't send any traffic from Meta to your Amazon product detail pages. All you're doing is you're creating a Shopify ecosystem where you're sending ads from Meta. It's coming over to your Shopify product detail pages. And your goal is to, in the beginning, at least break even. Because if you can break even, you can be relatively certain and you can quite easily measure the spillover effect that comes over onto Amazon. And so really what your goal is to just spend money to profitably acquire customers onto an asset you own. And so that's the reason why we recommend Shopify as like your second platform. If you're an Amazon first brand, don't expand to like 2 more platforms, and don't go get on Walmart.com or Target.com. That's going to be a 10% uptick for double the complexity for an asset you're still renting, But if you build a Shopify brand if you build a Shopify website that's getting a lot of traction and a lot of inbound interest and people actually buying from you, you're building your own asset that you own. That's an email list you own, a customer list you own. These are things that buyers want when they're actually looking to come and buy your brand. And so if you like think about that and you start thinking long term, like where does my brand need to be in 3 years if I
Mm-hmm.
want the exit multiple, or if I want to do this or want to do that, then the option becomes entirely clear. I need to get onto Shopify. I need to find a traffic source. We primarily recommend meta ads, but you could also do TikTok ads or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Again, TikTok Shop, really exciting opportunity. We think it should be your third platform though, because if it's not going to Shopify, you're once again just getting another asset you don't own. And TikTok Shop, sure, it seems great right now, but it could be just like Amazon in 3 years, where they have a bunch of tyrannical rules. They stop paying you suddenly, like all the
I
stuff
know.
that you complain about with Amazon. Yeah. So that was a bit of a long answer, and we didn't get into the timelines, but I wanted to kind of just pause there because I threw a lot at you and the audience, and I want to make sure that you didn't have
Yeah,
follow up.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I think first of all, like that's such a well said example. I think something that happens even to me a lot when I'm also browsing online and let's say I'm looking to buy a potential product, and then of course through Meta you can fully tailor that ad to the person that potentially is interested. Yeah, the first thing I do is going to Amazon. That's true because I want to have that prime experience, next day delivery, same day delivery. Sometimes I have payment plans. Sometimes I have everything signed up. I think one of the main reasons websites sometimes have low conversions because of all the thing of having to create an account, put your credit card and everything. When in an Amazon, I can buy now, add to cart, and all of that. So
Yeah.
I am also guilty of that. And I think the example you mentioned of having different products, I think that's perfect because you
Hmm.
don't dilute the efforts. I have seen that actually this I forgot the name of this makeup brand, but I saw that they were doing something similar. They were doing an audit where on Amazon they only have the very cheap kind of lipsticks and that's it. But anything
Hmm.
bigger than that, the bundles, the bigger kind of makeup lineups and everything, you can only buy on the website, right? So they use Amazon
Hmm.
as a lead magnet. They get all the kind of cheap leads and everything, and then they upsell them potentially on the website, right? So I guess that's the same example you're giving. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very, very well thought out approach. Um, we call that platform specific offers, but you can call that anything you want. Either way, that's a really, really intelligent way to use Amazon in your business's ecosystem. So kudos to whoever that brand is. Like that, I applaud them because most brands don't want to go through the hassle of figuring out which products to sell where, and it's one of those things that makes a big, big difference once you start to implement it. So yeah.
Yeah.
um,
Even brands like Apple, by the way, I don't know if maybe you have seen, but Apple, let's say you want to buy a MacBook, you can only buy the baselines. You cannot buy the all kind of build up. You have to go to the website. So I think it is something that more and more enterprise brands are doing. Like you can only buy the entry level things on Amazon, but if you want the real
yeah.
brands, kind of highlights in terms of the product, you have to go directly to the website. Yeah.
You know where I got this idea? So I, my wife online shops like crazy. And to be honest, it's impressive because she finds deals like nobody else. It's actually it's a skill that I am genuinely impressed by. But she gets it from her mom. My mother-in-law is an avid Costco shopper, and that's where I
Yeah.
first got the idea for basically this whole like platform specific offers thing, because every SKU at Costco is unique. You can't
Hmm.
just buy, you can't price compare it anywhere else. And that's part of the whole thing behind
It's
Costco.
only made for Costco, that version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So like I buy deodorant at Costco, and I you can't go onto Amazon and buy the same form factor there because it's only sold at Costco. So you can buy the same scents, but you can't buy the same scents at the same size in the same pack because it's only available at Costco. And it makes it so you can't really price compare the same way. It makes you want, like, if you want that, you have to buy it at Costco. And I thought that was such a clever idea. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
think now once we have understand high level cost strategy, we can maybe start diving a bit into the technicalities of how will a brand go and get started with this. Because some people might think, oh, but I don't have a Facebook account or Instagram account that has followers. I have never done Meta. do you need
Mhm.
like some nurturing periods for make this work? Like, what is your advice when it comes to yeah.
So it is not easy. Like if this was easy, every Amazon seller would have started doing this back
Mm-hmm.
in March of 2025 when I realized that this was going to become a big thing. Uh, or maybe maybe it won't, but I genuinely think it's going to be a big thing that people are doing for a long time. Um, how do you get started? Well, the first thing you should do is make sure you have the three things I brought up. So, Amazon product market fit, almost everyone who listens to this will have this. Meta market fit, you can actually go onto the Facebook ads library and
Mm-hmm.
you can search your competitors' brand names and see if they're selling
That's such a
products on
cool
there.
trick, by the way. Maybe you
Oh,
can
yeah.
explain how people can find it, but yeah, you can
Yeah.
spy on every single ad people is doing. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really powerful. And it's just like facebook.com/ads dash library, I think.
Yeah.
Or if you
Yeah.
Google Facebook ads library, you don't need to change meta. It'll pop up right away. That's one
Tells
that's
you everything.
really, yeah, yeah. Like, and then just start searching competitive brands. Another thing you can do is search adjacent brands. So like,
Mm,
um, if you sell agave nectar, for example, and you're like, nobody else is doing that, but there are people who are advertising olive oil, I think a lot of the times you can kind of take the same learnings and kind of apply them across. And then the final thing is platform specific offers. And you
mm,
might say, Sean, I'm not going to make a brand new SKU just to sell on my
yeah.
website. You don't have to do that. You just need to do, if you have two products, you can sell a bundle on your website that's not available on Amazon. And the bundling is an easy way to kind of start getting products for sale on your website that people don't, or that don't exist on Amazon. Another thing you could do is you could source a few hundred of something and sell it as part of a bundle only on your
Mm,
website. That's another way that you can kind of get started where you basically manufacture some kind of product or like free gift with purchase or buy two get one free. Like anything
mhm,
like that is something you can do in order to get started. And then once you have those three things, right? The thing that a lot of Amazon sellers get tripped up once they have those three things is Facebook ads or meta ads.
mhm,
Because the main thing that is different is on Meta and for Shopify sellers, Meta really rewards your ability to create new visual assets constantly. I say visual assets because people say creatives and it gets kind of confusing quite quickly. But you need to have a bunch of different videos and a bunch of different photos that all kind of work for whatever product you're selling. And the good news is, in today's day and age, you can use AI to make those, and you can use AI to kind of get to your first round of videos and photos that you can use to start selling your products. But in the long term, what you probably want to do is find a way to get lots of different visual assets that you can test on Meta. And I'm talking like you might have 20 different 20, 30, 40, 50 visual assets that you make and you put them on Facebook ads and it might be until the 50th ad before you finally strike gold. But the thing that a lot of Amazon sellers aren't used to is they're so used to like the linear nature of Amazon. I spend $1, I get three back.
exactly.
But on meta ads, a lot of the times you spend $1, get $1 back for like, the first 49 ads, and then you spend $1 and you get 50 back on the 50th ad. And then you can scale up and spend so much further because you're not constrained by the number of people searching a keyword on Amazon. And
Yeah.
so, it's a really, really powerful way to grow on Amazon and also start to kind of build non-Amazon demand that really will grow and continue to sustain your brand as an asset.
Yeah, I think to double down on this, like we're seeing similar things on Amazon in the sense that we are seeing how Amazon investing a lot of money also on trying to divert the advertising nature from keyword to being behavior focused and interest focused, with Amazon Marketing Cloud being a big thing now, right? So essentially,
Yeah.
it's becoming like a meta equivalent, but for Amazon now. And now with DSP, you can retarget these people even more powerful than ever before. So I think definitely we're seeing how the old way of advertising, which is keyword, is reaching a cap and based on how
Mhm.
much you can do. And the next phase is definitely doing an interest focus. And I think that's where Meta excels. You don't only have people that shop on Amazon, that people maybe have never shopped on Amazon in the first place, but they could potentially shop your product for the first time,
Mhm.
because they want to try it out. So I guess to start concluding is, how do you start measuring success? Because we clearly can see that, timeline, of course, take a bit longer because of the nature of the ads, how much split testing, how much content. Now I guess I want to conclude into, how do we make sure this actually is the right thing to do for Amazon brand? Like, what I'm trying to say is, do you track, for example, how your Amazon traffic improves, your sales, your ranking? Like, is there one metric you like to look at after all of this to see, okay, this is actually working? You know?
So there are a lot of metrics that we like to track. This is like, not to sound cliche, but like the metric that we track and care the most about is profit. But basically, what we end up doing a lot of the time is custom reporting for the first 90 days, where we are pulling your Facebook ad spend, your Shopify results, and then also pulling that product, because usually we do this one product at a time. We start with your bestseller. Um, we pull the profitability per product, and we pull that all into a spreadsheet. And
Mhm.
something that you'll be blown away to see is, a lot of the times you'll start running these kinds of ads on a product, and your Facebook ads will be, or your Shopify channel, if you measure it alone, will be losing
Mhm.
you $5,000 a month. But you're making $10,000 a month more on Amazon. And when you see that, you'll be aware that, like, look, the spillover effect is happening, and spillover
Wow.
commerce yeah,
Mhm.
spillover commerce is doing this for you. Now, the one thing I will say is, like, I'm not naive, I'm not blind. Like, it's not a great use of capital to lose money building an Amazon or building a Shopify website. But what it does give you is a bit more of an escape plan from Amazon. And so that's kind of why we recommend that, is because, look, you might be losing money, but if you're not losing, or if you're losing money in one place but making money in another place, you can eventually optimize yourself to be profitable in both. But if you can get to that break even faster, it's going to just lead to more optionality for your brand as the world gets more and more uncertain.
Cool. So I guess, to conclude here, is there any criteria you think you put in front of sellers to consider if this is the right thing to pursue or not? Because as we are already discussing, it takes some level of setup, some level of timelines, and therefore most
Mhm.
likely this means they will require some level of commitment. So do you think this is for a brand started from zero, or is a brand already established? What is usually your guidance when it comes to this for all the listeners and the ones that are watching today?
Yeah. So we generally recommend this for at least mid-size Amazon first brands. Um, if you're doing less than $1 million a year on Amazon, you shouldn't do
Mm-hmm.
this. You should focus on growing your Amazon business. If you're
Mm-hmm.
1 to 2 million, you should definitely, like, think about it.
Explore it.
Um, and $2 million plus is definitely like where you're now at the size where you have a business that is big enough that you could really get hurt by one of your competitors doing this to you.
Mm,
Quick side note: I recently had a meeting with a guy that
mm,
I had met in 2020. He was doing about
mm,
5 million a year on Amazon, selling like sports gear, like weightlifting equipment and stuff like that. $5 million a year in 2020, and I
mm.
think he did the same in 2021.
Wow.
And this year, he's going to do less than $1 million a year in 2026.
Wow.
And we opened up his product detail pages and his competitors' product detail pages, and in
Mm,
10 minutes I could show him Here's the exact ad they're using to make a ton of sales on Meta. Here's the
Mm.
exact ad they're using to make a ton of sales on TikTok. And what is this brand doing to beat you? It's just external traffic. Like they're just running a ton of external traffic and you're not. And that's why you went from doing $5 million a year to $1 million a year, because the Amazon game has changed. But something else I realized is like, look, this space is so full of people giving great advice, and then like, I'm going to charge you an arm and a leg to do anything else, or you need to talk to me and do my 7-step system. So we actually made like a digital scorecard where you can go through, and I answer the same 15 questions that I would ask you on a discovery call. But you could do it without talking to me or anyone else. You get it's completely free, and you'll get instant results with an actual cost estimate of what we think it's going to cost you to do this. So if as a follow-up to this call, we can put that in the description maybe, or you can go to my website and find it, where we talk about the Shopify, what we think it would take to get you on Shopify, because I think that would be really helpful for a lot of brands.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask you that in case somebody watching and hearing this episode. I guess they can go to your website, which we're gonna make sure we put down below in the comments, and also what you just mentioned. And I think other than that, Sean, any last advice or tip you wanna give for people, especially in 2026 when it comes to scaling?
Yeah. Look, don't take my word for it. Go take a look at your bestseller in your category, and go look at their Meta and TikTok presence, and see if I'm right, because that it's actually something that happened to. First, we realized this was happening. Then a company did this to us. We lost our bestseller badge to a company that was selling. So we were selling a 3-pack for $19.99. They came in and started selling a 2-pack for $29.99. And what I was losing my mind. And I don't have any hair, but I was pulling my hair out. What is this company doing to? How are they beating us so badly? This was April of last year, 2025, and I'm just saying, how are they beating us? And then I said, okay, let's just see. And I opened Facebook ads library, and they had 70 different Facebook ads going. And I was just bing, okay, well, yeah, we got hit with spillover commerce. And so look, maybe no one's doing this in your account or in your niche right now, but really that's coming. An opportunity. Yeah, it's coming. Yeah. Somebody's going to do this, and it's going to happen sooner than you think. So please consider it. Go look at, I'm trying to think of a good category. Weightlifting straps. There's a company called, the bestseller in weightlifting straps is a company that has a gigantic TikTok presence and a gigantic Facebook ads presence. And 5 years ago, that brand didn't exist, and now they're the bestseller on Amazon. So that's a great example. It's an example where I don't work with that company. I just or anyone in that space. It's just a person I'm kind of friends with, where I described exactly how that problem arose. And so go look it up, because it is dramatic.
Yeah, that's good, Sean. I appreciate the insight. So thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure, and definitely looking forward to meet you soon, potentially upcoming events, and go from there. Yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you, man. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, have a good one. Take care. See ya. Bye bye.
Yeah.